everybody that's now joining in with us. We want to welcome y'all to the Restoring Hope EME podcast. We appreciate you guys tuning in to us. And today we have special guest, Mr.
Jon Woods from Hardin University.
John, what do you do?
I'm a director of the Entrepreneurship Waldron Center at Hardin University and teach at Hardin also.
And we also have
Jacob Wood. I'm a student at Hardin.
Whoa.
Jon Woods' son. So I'm here working with these guys.
we want to give a shout out to Hardin University for always they've had our back since day one. We appreciate y'all. Appreciate you for joining our podcast today. And today,
Bravo, Hardin. Bravo, Hardin.
and today we talking about solutions. Right now, it brought to my attention by Paul that we had a 10-year high, and our crime rate is going up. It's pretty much going back to the 90s or when we growing up. And yeah, we can talk about the problem all day long. But to every problem, there is a solution. Mm-hmm. You feel what I'm saying? So what we're going to do is EME, as a community, is everybody who's logging in, we are going to come up with some solutions, man, to heal our city. Feel what I'm saying? We're going to work together. Black, white, Korean, whatever you are. We're going to work together. We're going to make this happen. So I know as far as being in these streets, as far as Charlie Mack and Turk, you know what I'm saying, they kind of somewhat experts on this because they done been out here and I done seen these brothers stop some of these things on certain different situations. So I would like to get some of their expertise on some of these solutions that we can bring in, and then also, you know, Paul with Restoring Hope, he brings in people that are getting out of jail and put them in different programs. And Hardin University, you are helping people become entrepreneurs. So these are some programs that can help and be part of the solution to stopping some of this violence, because we give people jobs and we give people owning things. You have less time to be concentrating on violence. So, Matt, what are, and Turk, before I go to that, I guess, what are some of the solutions y'all think that we can give, or you know what I'm saying, remedies to this violence? What are some of the solutions that we can give to the public and we can all work together? Let's at least start a talk dialogue. We start there, and then we put it together. We make it happen. You feel me? So what do y'all think?
Thank you, Rock, for introducing the introduction. Very professional. I think a lot of the solutions come from the community, because if we don't put our foot in and put the effort in to help ourselves, we can't ask everyone else to help us if we aren't putting the work in to help ourselves. So I think one of the problems, because solutions start with problems, right? So I think one of the problems that we directly come in contact with every day is, I think from my perspective, it's economic. I think we haven't been taught the right ways to make money and to start business and own our own. We're so used to being working and not trying to stimulate our own professional, our own businesses. We're not trying to stimulate our own businesses on our own. And I don't think it's because we're scared or we don't have the opportunity sometimes. It's because we just don't know how. And education is a great way for that, because I came through college. Turk came through college too, Arkansas Baptist, and it kind of taught me a different way to look at things in my community, because I felt like I was a consumer and a taker. And Arkansas Baptist introduced me to entrepreneurship and owning my own business and how to do it in a legitimate manner. So I think education is a very big solution to the problem, and also it's also a problem because we have the lack of education. But the solution is to teach specific business tools. You know, not just to go in there and open a business. And this is what you have to have, like, specific things, like this is the first process, this is the second process. I think my community kind of needs someone to walk them through it. You understand? Because it's sometimes it's complicated and people don't get it.
Matt, if you don't mind me asking a question, because I'm ignorant of really the I think of them as incentives, right, in the community, but why is it so violent? So if we've got we've got schools, we've got access to colleges, what's driving the violence? I mean, really?
I think, man, it's just poor out there. Like, that's why it's so violent. Like, most of the things that we having coming from people just living in poverty. Just point blank period. Like, we don't have nothing. You know what I'm saying? When you ain't used to having nothing, that's how you tend to act. You know what I mean? Even when you get it, you still be like that, like the saying, what you can't bring the hood up out of person. You know what I'm saying? You know, even if you
Is it like home ownership? So how many folks in the neighborhood own their own home? Is it mostly renters?
in our neighborhood right now, in the point,
So a lot of
older people own the
their
property
home,
that's
yeah.
in our neighborhood. So when I look at my folks in them house, they actually pay $1 for their property that they got. You know what I'm saying? Where I stay in the South, you know what I mean? Like $1 they paid for that back then. You know what I'm saying? So the property was real cheap, and there ain't too many young people owning. You know what I'm saying? Their own
But the
house.
violence is coming from the young folks, so is that right?
young
I mean,
generation.
I'm just trying to
I wouldn't
understand
just
what
say
the,
that. I wouldn't just say that.
Violence
It's
comes
coming
from
from
everywhere.
I mean, because I've known y'all and I love the solution that you're bringing, but I think a lot of folks won't understand, you know, what's
What
going
causes
on.
the
Yeah.
violence? Well, first, right about the poverty, but just a lack of respect for one another. You know, there's no respect and love out there. It's a dog eat dog. Everybody wants what's for themselves and only for themselves, and willing to do whatever it takes to get it. So it goes back to what Turtle said about poverty, but it also goes with of the environment. The environment breeds that. That's what in these neighborhoods, in our neighborhoods, they are just built for. It's not built for us to rise out. It's built to crabs in a barrel mentality. Like somebody's getting better or growing, somebody wants to take it from them. It's not a mentality of everyone wanting everyone to succeed. It's a selfish mentality.
Now, excuse me, gentlemen, watch this here. I'm gonna go to this young man right here because you growing up with a father. You know what I'm saying? So, therefore, like me and my father been back and forth. We have a great relationship now. I mean, we had a great relationship when I was younger, but he wasn't always present. He had this thing going, and I was here. But you growing up as a father, what kind of, and a father that not only there, being a good father and being there and showing you. So with him being there and him being able to guide you through certain things, what advantage does it do for you?
I think I always have someone to talk to, and I think I have a clear everyday message of what he's done to put himself into a position where he can support my family, and I know kind of what I'm able to see what I want to do someday, act it out every day through what he's doing, and always just by talking to him, you learn so much about life or experience how to handle yourself or handle any situation that comes your way. So it's huge to have someone like that in your life every day.
Right.
You never question that you're loved.
Also, yes, with both my mom and my dad and even extended family, never question that I have that.
What role do you think safety kind of plays in? Because I'm saying, you know, if it's real violent in the neighborhood, until you can get safe, it's hard to kind of think about anything else.
But watch this here, Power. Y'all neighborhood ain't always safe neither. It's a whole bunch of white on right crime going down. So this is another thing.
Yeah, I
wanna
agree.
ask
I don't think it's only a
because-
black or a white thing.
And this another role black communities pay attention because we learn it from a father. And that's another thing, one of the alternatives that we want to bring because we want to bring Big Brother and Fatherhood programs. Now, when you're out with your friends, because your dad ain't around, you know what I'm saying? Y'all gonna get into a couple of things. What the things and the tools that your father taught you, how are you able to, like, be able to say no to their peer pressure?
I think I've seen him saying no, and I've seen the example he sets, and I also have his expectation that that's who I'm going home to every night. And so if I do something, I'm going to directly be punished by him if I make mistakes. And so knowing that he's around and is right there can deter me from making mistakes or getting into stuff I shouldn't be getting into.
So just knowing that you got a daddy kind of stop.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Well,
You
we
don't
have
wanna-
expectations.
and you don't wanna
That's
disappoint
really
him.
interesting.
I know my parents, both of them, have very high expectations for me, and so you don't want him to say, we're disappointed in you. So you'll do whatever it takes to not get to that disappointment.
Let me ask you a question. Not to cut you out, what were you saying, Chuck?
Me being from my community though, like for me not growing up with no mom, with no daddy that's in my life like that, or a mama I could talk to like that, you know what I'm saying? I tend to was like handle situations way more, you know what I'm saying, like you ain't supposed to, you know what I mean? Like I don't be having, like at the time, when I get into a situation, I don't be like thinking about my mom and daddy at home, what's gonna happen when I get home, or none of that. You know what I'm saying? Like, I think that's probably
That's
kind
a
of
big
good
thing for me.
to have, be able to think,
Yes.
know that your parents at home. Okay, I can't do this because mom and daddy there. You know what I mean? They missing a lot of that in the community because we don't have a complete circle of family to even be thinking like that. Like when we get out there and jump out there, it's all about survival, and at that moment, it ain't mom and dad at home. That's not do this. You know what I mean?
Mr. Jon,
Survival. Yes, sir.
into you.
Rock.
Right, that way. Now, you being the type of person that you are, you know what I'm saying? And to our father, this man has been very instrumental into us coming. He's been very supportive. We want to thank you. You feel me? All right, well, you being a father, are there any kind of like fatherly tips that you can give, you know what I'm saying, to people that didn't grow up with a father, and you know what I'm saying, the things that you've installing to your son? What are some good tips that you can give some, you know what I'm saying, to people in every community?
Yeah, that's a good question. I'm not sure. I'm learning by listening to Turtle and all, and I guess that one thing that, and I think back to my father, is that I never questioned that I was loved, right? I always had that like Paul says, a safe place to go, or somewhere I felt. I'm not talking about safe physically. I'm talking about safe as far as love,
Right.
and that type of thing. And I also there were certain expectations that we had that you would go out and you would think, our family name, you would say, I don't want my parents to be embarrassed by something that I do. And so I think that you tend to live up to, what's expected of you. And if you don't have that, then like you said, it's about survival, and it has nothing to do with the person. It has to do with the position that you've been.
Yeah.
We don't choose our childhood, right? We don't choose where we've been born.
Right.
We don't choose that type of thing like that. So Turtle, you didn't choose to come into the world like that, right? So now we have to say, okay, here's a problem. How do we work to show these people that they are loved, and that they do, their life is sacred.
And it's worth something.
It's worth a lot.
Right.
And that we give them tools to solve problems, and we let them know, also that we have expectations.
Right.
And if you don't live up to that expectations, you know that you're loved, but you're still consequences.
So your son first role model was you. You know what I'm saying? My first role model wasn't my dad. You feel what I'm saying? And that's what y'all got that we ain't got.
But see, that's where you come in. Yeah, you know what? But it's like I was talking to Rock one night, and they were talking about the respect there is in the neighborhood. I mean, I asked Rock, do you know this person? Well, everybody knows him, right? So that doesn't mean I'm perfect. Doesn't mean any of it. Doesn't mean Paul's perfect or anything. But You know.
My wife would disagree with you.
Oh, yeah. Well, you might be perfect. Yeah, but you
If
say.
you're watching, Lori, go ahead and post and agree with me.
But you do say, hey, listen, you don't have to be perfect, but you're still a role model for these young men, and you're there for these young men because y'all are respected. You can relate to these young men. You understand the position that these young men are in. I remember the first night I was here, I met with Mac, and Mac, what did he do? He showed me his little girl.
Right.
He said, look at that. Isn't she pretty and everything? And this guy, he wants to be a great father. That's what he's doing here tonight.
Right.
Right? So you have expectations for that girl?
Yeah, to be the best. Whatever she
And,
want to be, to be
okay,
the
so
best.
do you love her?
Completely.
Completely unconditionally.
Totally. And that's why when Rock was asking about fatherhood, I was so in ready to listen because I need tips. Because I got a little girl, man.
It's in you, man. I can tell from
But
what
I'm
you
nervous,
show.
though. I'm nervous about being a
Nothing wrong
father.
being nervous.
You had to
I'm
show the
nervous
love.
bad about it.
You show the love. A lot of these kids out here, family and parents don't show the love. That's why it's completely violent out there. Like, I'm telling you, like, my family, they didn't show the love. You know, my parents. You know, I may got love from grandma. You know, first and foremost, rest in peace to my grandma. I love her. You know what I'm saying? That's my grandma baby. You know what I'm saying?
Look at that smile. Look at that smile. Now, grandma loves you.
Grandma showed unconditional
Yeah.
love. And grandma, the difference was my grandma had ownership of her home, of her property, of her family, of all that. Then my mama, she didn't own no house. She had no ownership of no car or none of that. So she didn't have, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Her mind frame wasn't like Granny. Granny could hold the family down. But my mama feel like, oh, I ain't got this now, I gotta work. She kind of let the kids get loose, so she was trying to feed us, make sure we have insurance, make sure, you know what I'm saying? And it kind of lost control, you know what I'm saying? When Granny had a little bit more time to pushing me than my parents did. But I didn't understand that till I got older, you know what I'm saying? And then I started looking for other role models outside of that, and then, you know, and I picked the wrong set of role models. But I ain't gonna say I picked the wrong set of role models because my experience, I learned a lot from my experiences. You know what I'm saying? But
You did, because you were running with me and I ain't know.
Yeah, no, you do. I mean, you've got a lot of good experience.
Right. You know what I'm saying? And I learned how to turn myself, kick the violence to the side, and I'm actually trying to be a role model. You know what I'm saying? Not for my kids and for my people in my community and all that. So, you know, it will come with change. You know what I'm saying? You grow into trying to do for you what you feel like your parents didn't give you. You know what I'm saying? You try to get better.
Not to change the subject, Jen. Will you finish?
Yeah, go ahead.
All right, we're gonna switch it up just a little bit. And to shout out to Gwendolyn Faye Brown, my mama, I love you. Buddy, I love you. And my daddy. Right, but y'all generation kind of different than ours. We would talk a little racial division, whatever. See, like y'all generation don't have that kind of like racial division than where our generations came up through. What changed? What happened? Why are more black and white kids able to get along now, you know what I'm saying, than what was different than our generation? Because we was taught, hey, you know what I'm saying, don't like that white boy, don't like that black boy. But y'all generation kind of somewhat get it. What happened?
I don't know. I guess from as long as I've been alive, I've never had any, like, no one ever have seen someone that I respect have any hate or malice towards someone of a different religion, race,
Right.
gender, or anything. And it was almost like it wasn't a problem. It seemed like once I got older enough to be on social media or see the news and stuff, then it was race was a problem. But I feel like kids don't see the color. They're just...
Let me tell you a story.
It's tough.
They had the Masters this weekend. I got to tell you a story. So I took Jacob to the Masters when he was about 10 years old. All right. So I took him to the Masters, and I saw this fella, and they said, well, that's Lee Elder over there. Lee Elder was the first black man to play at the Masters. Broke the barrier and everything in the 70s.
Before Tiger came through and crashed.
Before Tiger came through and broke that ceiling.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
So, but you know what I said? I said, hey, Jacob's got to meet Lee Elder. I said, I want him to meet Lee Elder.
Right.
So I chased Lee Elder down. I said, excuse me, Mr. Elder. I said, do you mind if I introduce you to my son? I introduced myself to him, and I said, Jacob, this is a very important man here. He played at the Masters and everything. And he said, why is he important? And Lee Elder looked at me, and he said, children don't see race. He said, don't even explain it to him. Because it's not, he said, he looked at me, he goes, what's different about him? Why is he different? And we both just said, he just played here at the Masters.
Right.
And he was a really nice guy. So, but you see that with kids like that. But fortunately, I was raised by parents that, I mean, we were colorblind.
Right.
So
Y'all weren't active on race banking.
Gosh, no.
So,
Hey, not my family. Not my family. My family. You kidding me?
Hey, so,
You kidding me?
so,
I mean,
you
I'm
kidding
saying,
me?
like, a lot of
No,
kids in your
my
position,
family, my
parents your age, they
right.
parents was racial banking. So, and now that the parents are not putting up in our yard, busting our windows, or chasing us down, because we ain't never been the type of people to just go get a white person and go in their yard, chase them down, or I hate you to be white. Like, we want to talk that for real. Like, we don't know nothing about that. Like, when we, even as an adult.
But we were taught to stay away from white people.
Yeah,
Even though
we
they
had,
ain't
because
racial,
we was taught that they was enemies.
It's a lot of dangerous. It's like,
It could be
Wow,
very
that's
dangerous
interesting.
and hazardous to your health.
Really?
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
So, I mean, no, I was very fortunate to grown up with my parents. If we would have never, ever. And, you know, it's really interesting because I found when, do you remember when there was the church shooting in Charleston, South Carolina? And at the trial, the minister, it was an African-American church, the minister got up and his wife was killed. And he got up and he said, you know, I know God wants me to forgive you. I'm supposed to forgive you. So he said, you know, and I don't have the power to do that myself, but God working through me can forgive you. He said, so I forgive you. And, you know, he's traveling around the country talking to different people now. But I would tell you that I've talked to other people about that, and they said the African-American people, the culture, is much more forgiving than the white culture.
we too damn forgiving.
Too
Excuse
much.
my
It ain't that we too forgiving. We just had complete civilization before.
No,
So we know how it is
too
to have
forgiving. How can you say
civilization
too
with no
forgiving? That's
people.
what God wants you to do.
No, because it's after so many times you bust me inside my head, I'm supposed to forgive you and just let you keep busting me inside. Nah,
No, you're
that's
not
not even normal.
No, you're.
That's not even normal. But that's the situation though, because every generation has been bad things happen to us, and we supposed to forgive. That's what this new generation and my generation trying to show you, that people getting tired of forgiving and there's no action. We're gonna keep forgiving, you're gonna bust our head, then next year you're gonna bust our head, we're gonna forgive you again, and next year we're gonna bust our head and we're gonna forgive you again. No. Would you do that?
No.
Okay,
No,
then.
I
So
wouldn't
why
let
would people
somebody,
expect
you
us-
have a right to protect yourself.
Exactly,
right?
and that's what we're saying.
So
We
that's
should
why
be
that's why that Paul is working to empower you, right? So you have ownership, and you have the skills to make your own and choose your own, so provide for your daughter,
right.
right? And to be the example to people. You'll see kids just like you that you'll be able to relate to. I can't relate to.
True.
What? And you'll look at them and you'll be the example, and you can say, hey, listen, because they'll respect you. They'll say, you don't have any clue what I'm living in. They'll look at me and say that.
So more to the story, listeners, is that my generation and the generation before, stay out these youngsters' way, man. Let them folks love each other. Let them grow up and have their own mind. Let them be like them. So if we don't teach them hate, it won't come into their generation. So it's our generation and the generation before us that's teaching them. So we got to quit. We got to check ourselves. You know what I'm saying? Leave them youngsters alone. Let them folks create a whole new, better world than what we was living in. So we gotta leave them alone. We can't be preaching this crazy method on them because they have beautiful minds and they're way more open-minded and there's way more possibilities that can happen with the young whites and the young blacks come together without seeing no color.
But we've got to empower people to Turtle's story, is
Right.
that you can't have it to where someone who's a mother's having to work 2 jobs
Right.
and trying to keep up with kids at home.
Right.
And because if you're not around to be an example, it's not possible. You got to be there.
But
To show that love.
But hold on, wait a minute.
I mean,
Let
that's
me
what
tell you
we're
about-
here
let
to,
me
that's
tell
what we're here to help.
Let me tell you about my queens in my community. 'Cause shout out to all the beautiful black queens. They here.
Woo-woo.
They're strong.
Because we was in jail. You know what I'm saying? My dad is in my generation, we was in jail, and those women were there. They took care of us. They nurtured us. They, you know what I'm saying? Without no help. And they had to go to work and then come home and be mama and daddy. That's hard. You feel what I'm saying? And majority of these women had more than 2, 3 kids, and they put it out on the line to raise their kids. So we can't just put no blame on them. because-
No, I'm not putting blame on them at all.
I'm not saying
It's
the
crazy.
blame. I'm
I
just
say I
I'm
want to
just-
get, I want to give them a chance.
Right.
So let me ask you this, Rock, is that much of your generation in jail?
Yeah. Mr. Biden locked all us up. Know that. Go check your crime bill in '94. You know what I'm saying? We all went to jail, so that's this generation now that's really going crazy. That's that generation off of our fatherhood, because me and Antoine, all of us were having babies at 16, 17 years old. And then for my daughter, just so happens she has a good head on her shoulder as a woman. She had to raise herself at 13. Her mother was there, but she had to guide through. She had to do her thing without me being there. You know what I'm saying? So, and her mother had to be there, and my mother and them was there when I wasn't. You feel me? So you have a child that from 0 to 12, 13, 14, 15 years old that's growing up without a steady father in their home or him or a steady father in their home. The lines can get very blurred. You feel what I'm saying? Without that structure.
And that's why we trying to break that cycle as young fathers, because we are fathers and we all have children, you know, below a certain age. And they look at us as role models and examples, just like Jacob looks at you. But our children are babies, some of them. Some of them are babies. And what we want to show them is that their fathers are there to provide, protect, and prevent. To prevent anything to come across them to hurt them, to protect them from it, and to provide a lifestyle and a home for them with leadership. And that's what because most of us, Charlie Rock had that. He had his father around. I had my father around for a certain amount of time, so I learned things. But
I was in prison.
But yeah, I was coming to you. And my big brother, he kind of took the place of my father. He's 5 years older. Shout out to my brother, Michael Benson, my little brother, Chris Benson, and my mother, Carolyn. Love y'all.
And my people, my mama still.
And my brother, he showed me what a man's supposed to do. He showed me how to dress. He showed me how to talk to women. Young ladies. He showed me how to carry myself. He showed me what my name Benson was about, my last name was about. And then he got caught up in the system, like most black males, you know, and he left. And then that's kind of the part when everything kind of went foul for me. And I started lingering more to my family, which was my gang. Southside was my gang. It became my family. And I did everything with them. They were my brotherhood, because I was used to brothers. And that's just was stuck with me, and it provided loyalty and love.
So y'all transitioning kind of to, we understand part of the problem now. What's your solution?
I was finna ask you this.
Hey, Paul's asking the questions tonight.
I know.
Yeah, wait a second.
I think we should get more, have more white allies. We don't really know, as far as from the community and black people, we don't know how to reach out to white people because we can't dissect who real, who genuine or messing with black people and not be on that racial type of time. You know what I'm saying? And so, I'm saying we need more white people to, you know, act like they mess with us. You know what I'm saying? Reach out to us, man. Invest in some of our business. Pick some of these people up, man. Get to know them so we know who we did, so they can know who we did. We can know who we dealing with, and they can know who they dealing with. You know what I mean?
Know the trust.
Right. You know what I'm saying? And we need in EME. We trying to like bridge the gap. You know what I'm saying? Because we more of a diverse organization. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, we looking for resources. That's our job. We get out here and find resources. We get out here and, you know, touch hands and bring that back to the community so they can see that, you know, basically just find the people who will help Rosa Parks. Here, Tubman, all them. Somebody who can help us.
Now, watch this here. Before we go on anything, this is a question for you and Power. It's a two-part question. Resources. We're talking about the solutions. Resources. What programs and things that you guys can provide for a person that's getting out of prison or a person that's looking for help trying to better their way in education? You know, Paul with Restoring Hope, he has programs that would allow you to adapt back into society. With you, you have entrepreneur programs. With you two guys, what would you suggest to some people that's listening that's looking for resources and programs? Paul?
Yeah, so Restore Hope was built, it was started by the governor about 5 years ago to help reduce incarceration and need for foster care. And so what we've done is really coordinate the help that's out there, because there is a lot of help out there. It's just not, people have a hard time finding it and gaining access to it. And so we put some structures in place in communities to be able to do that. I would say the reason why I like entrepreneurship, and I'm so glad that John has agreed to help y'all launch EME, is what I found is an entrepreneurial mindset. The way that entrepreneurs think is a asset for anyone that's wanting to start something new. And someone that's coming back from prison has to start a new life, right? You got to start usually off the jump, everything again. You got to find housing. You're gonna have to find a job. You got to decompress because you didn't get to make any decisions. Now you got to make all of them. And so an entrepreneurial mindset looks at problems and comes up with solutions. An entrepreneur sees problems, and they see opportunity in a problem. Rather than what I see a lot of people, I mean, it's just crushing, right? You're hopeless. Man, I got my driver's license suspended. I got a $100 gate check. You know, I got child support that's been piling up for 2 years while I've been gone. You know, I don't have any skills. The whole world, it's me against the world. And the world's heavy and it's going to crush me. Again, entrepreneurial mindset looks at all that and I'll go, what can I do right now with what I got? That's why I like the entrepreneurial mindset. Right. Now, what we also know is, and that's why I'm excited with y'all, is because you know and you love your neighborhood. Yeah. Right? You want to impact your neighborhood. And so if we can get a group of allies that will help EME go by buying your products, by supporting you, then what we'll do is we'll deliver the resource through y'all and into the neighborhood.
Make me rich, I'm gonna make y'all rich.
All right, one hand shakes the other.
Right.
So I would say, I would go back to something the Turtle said earlier, is that you guys have learned a lot. You know a lot, all right? So I think I want to put that to use, but in an entrepreneurship program, I want what you do is you start small. And the way I explain it to people is that when you first start out living somewhere, you rent. Then you buy a small home. Then you move to a bigger home. It's the same thing in entrepreneurship. You start with one thing. You become successful at that. You learn from that. And then you do a little bit more. You invest a little bit more. Yeah. Right? So, and it goes back to what Paul said, is that you look at things, and just because something, you come back and you go, wow, that didn't sell. That's okay. Sam Walton's first store didn't work either. Right? So you say, why didn't it work, and what do people want? right? So then you learn from that and go on to the next one. You don't get discouraged. But if it's you against the world, if you don't have any allies, then the world tends to crush people. But I would say you guys know, you guys have a lot of experience. You guys have a lot, and so the second thing is that what we do is that, and my friend Benito, who runs Remix Ideas, he says there's 4 things and that he works with. He says you need financial capital, you need knowledge capital, so you need education, you need money. He says you need social capital, you need connections, all right, and you need hope capital. Hope capital. You've got to understand, it goes back to what Paul says, is that sometimes you think it's hopeless. If you get out there and you think it's me against the world, you become hopeless. And that's where I was trying to figure out when you were talking earlier and say, why did the guys shoot each other? And you say, well, because there's nobody at home. And you think, well, if I got nothing to lose, I'm just going to, it's like my buddies are it. So if he says, let's go do this, I'm going to go do that, right? So you want to give them some hope that there is a better life, and it's not a trick. Right? It's like what you said earlier. Who do I trust? Right? So if you look at those, and then what I'd say is if you can come up with a good business plan and a good business, I think we can get capital. Okay, if you come up with it, I think we can get connections, especially in Little Rock. And I think we've got the knowledge. That's easy. Well, that's why Jacob's here. No, that's why. Hey, listen, Paul and I we'll stick our necks out for you.
And to our viewers, you know what I'm saying? A lot of, not just put my people on blast, a lot of my people are not good with, I would say, how would I put this? The credit thing ain't right. So when we go up in the bank, you getting denied. You know what I'm saying? So sometimes I might have to come use you, and then you know, hey, let me
For
use
a line of credit.
Credit line real quick. Right. But we also need programs to teach our people how to work their credit, how to do. These are the educational programs that we're talking about bringing to the neighborhood. That when you do get this credit line, know how to do this. Know how to pay your bills on time. Know how to, you know what I'm saying, budget time. Don't live above your means. You right here, right now. You're going to get there in a little bit. You feel what I'm saying? So we need those programs to teach us, you know what I'm saying, how to be economically responsible. You know what I'm saying?
That's what I was saying. Remember that
programs, you know what I'm saying, things like that. And to our viewers, you know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? But to our viewers, my mother told me to quit saying all that. But if you have ways and you have solutions, let's all get together and let's put these solutions, let's put these programs together. Let's work with each other. You know what I'm saying? And with each other, we all can come up with something. We might start off small, but once we put it all together, we'll make it happen. So,
but here, don't underestimate.
I think, John, we're right at time.
Nope.
Here where we got batteries on the cameras out, but I just got to say I've learned a lot, and I tell you what, in the last 2 months, the way y'all were thinking, I got to see. So today we were at an apparel shop. We did a little bit of shoot, but y'all were able to deliver your designs down there, and the first garment's going to be rolling off here before Christmas. So we're going to have to sign off real quick. We're going to lose our batteries, but first garments for EME going to be rolling off before Christmas, and we'll come back and give you the opportunity to buy one for yourself, your family, and for your friends. You could be an ally with EME to be able to change the environment here in Little Rock. Support these guys as y'all transform your community. So thanks for tuning in tonight.
Shout out to Mary Benson, my grandma too. Rest in love.